Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Let's start with the positives, because it goes from positives to just a bunch of turds, pretty much. Um, let's start off with Gwen and Chad. She comes over and she apologizes to Chad for using him in her revenge plot. She wants to sit there and try to make amends with Abigail. And, at first Chad is just like, who are you? Like, who are you? And, he's like, you must have some sort of alternative motive or whatever. But after they talk, Chad is like, listen, I don't know how Abigail's going to take it, but if she's on board, then I'm on board because I want to sit there and move forward with everything. And, with that being said, he's like, yeah, I accept your apology. Um, and honestly, to tell you the truth, it's just beneficial for him in general because if Abigail is able to move on, then they can get their marriage back on track. So, um, he's all for it. Um, let's talk about Abigail. Abigail is not about that life in the beginning. When they came back from their marriage counseling, Abigail was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I mostly talked about Gwen, but she's just really vexing me." She just goes on and on and on and on and on about Gwen, and then she gets a call from her dad. So she heads over there, and at first she is just like, "So you on Gwen's side now? Like, is that it?" And at one point, she pretty much asked again, like, listen, I hate to sit there and do this to you, but you gotta have to pick a side. Which I thought was incredibly selfish of her. Listen, I am not a Gwen fan, and I've said this before. When she started her whole revenge crap, okay? I wasn't about that. But, listen, it doesn't, I'm looking at it as like, listen, Abigail does not do you any good to sit there and hold resentment towards Gwen to sit there and be going at this war because you're going to wind up losing your husband, your children is going to be, is going to mess up your whole family life, and for what? Revenge on Gwen. Now, if you have kids, I would sit there and say go for it. If you have kids and you need to have a marriage, go for it. But at this point, you have way more to lose than she does. So, but she's going on and on and on. She killed my grandmother, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, Jack is like, you know what? Listen, she says she didn't do it, and we'll never know. Because we just have to go on her word. But then, Jack brings up the fact that he didn't really like Steve in the beginning. And they had an issue way before I started watching this whole show, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with Caleb from what he said. And, he was just like, it took years for them to get to that point, Now they're pretty much best friends, and Abigail was like, yeah, I don't really see that happening. And she literally said at one point, she was like, yo, I'm ready to go open warfare with her. But, and I'm not gonna lie, when she walked in there, and she, Jack was like, yeah, I know about the whole, you tying her up and everything like that. And, Abigail was like, yeah, well, I did it, but Gabby stopped me, so I didn't really do it. That doesn't count. Really, Abigail? Now, don't get me wrong. I cannot be, what I'm saying? Like, I can't really sit there and judge her too hard because, listen, Gwen deserves all that anger. And then some. But, what it really comes down to, it's going to hurt her more in the end. She kind of realized that, and she's willing to just kind of, at least drop the war at this point. So, Jack calls Gwen over to, have a little powwow with, Abigail and try to get some sort of truth going. Because here's the thing, it sucks in Jack's, like, it sucks, in Jack's situation because, he doesn't want to sit there and play favors. I don't think any parent wants to sit there and play favors, but listen, Abigail is your girl, like, you raised her. You knew her for, I won't sit there and say your whole life. I don't know exactly what the situation was, but you knew her for a really long time. Gwen, this is a girl you're sitting there trying to make up for lost time, so you feel guilty, but he can't sit there and play favors, but yet he has to sit there and try to protect both of his girls without alienating Abigail. So it's kind of a rough one. Now let's talk about Xander and Chanel. Here's the thing. We all know how I feel about Chanel. And if you knew, I think Chanel's trash. Straight up. I think she's trash. But you know, they meet up in the park, and after some words are exchanged, you know, Xander's like, listen, I don't want to sit there and drink alone. Misery loves company. You know, let's hit this bottle together. So, you know, they talk for a little bit, and Chanel's like, yeah, germs. I mean, I don't know where your mouth been at. So they decide to go to Xander's room, which here's the thing. I would sit there and say it looks rough, but well, a little kind of run a little sloppy on the whole straightening up, which I gotta kind of do this weekend. But so I pretty much have no room to judge. Anyway, they get back to his hotel. Now Xander is just on this bender. I really want to see an episode when he actually has a hangover, because that would be a good one. Because there are consequences to drinking that much, and hangovers are just terrible. But he's drinking nonstop. At one point, you know, he talks about his wedding that he didn't have, pretty much with the love of his life. And even Chanel, as much as I give her crap for, and still gonna give her crap, even she was like, yo, why don't you just slow down a little bit? Like, you're hitting that bottle too hard. She must have grabbed some sort of drink that was like either expired or just mixed together, because she was coughing practically up a lung. But yeah, even she was like, yo, you need to just kind of slow down. You know, she wanted to really sit there and listen to him and hear him out, because, you know, even with all that drinking, she knew, she felt the pain in Darren's voice, you know, like no one's in there just drinking like that just for fun. But yeah, at some point, you know, Chanel's like, yeah, well, you know, my life is pretty much over to my mommy cut me off of my credit cards or whatever. And I'm like, okay, this guy done lost the love of his life, and you're pretty much complaining like a spoiled brat. Awesome. That's just great. You know, whatever goodwill you had going with me just started to slowly disintegrate it. So that's just awesome. Xander's like, listen, he gives her his wallet. It's like, alright, problem solved. I'm gonna use the restroom. Order up some more alcohol for me to drink, because apparently he didn't have enough. Man, this guy has a high tolerance of alcohol. Jesus Christ. So he goes in the restroom, and Chanel gets this wicked look on her face, like, oh. Like, I'm like, why? Okay, he gave you his credit card, his wallet. You didn't have to actually take it. What the hell is wrong with this little girl? So she starts digging in his wallet, realized that he's CEO of Titan. And she's all like, oh, my financial troubles have been solved. Wow. Chanel. It's almost like she started to go 2 steps forward, okay? She didn't listen to him and told him to stop drinking a little bit, slow down on the drinking. So she did move 2 steps forward. And then that one act that just went 9 steps backwards. Like, yep, that's Chanel know that I love and hate. So awesome. Now we'll get to this last little turd of this episode. Should have said this in the beginning. Yeah, I'm about to pretty much kind of go hard on some people. So at this point, if you want to just kind of stop watching, I would totally understand. Um, you know me, I don't pull punches. So, fair warning. And if you're still here, thank you. So, what's his name? Theo is, drinking at the bar with Julie, and he's talking about Sierra and stuff like that, and he talks about how she's gonna get her memories back, and Julie's like, "That's great, isn't that great?" And he's like, "Yeah," and Julie's like, "You sure, bro? Because you don't you don't sound too thrilled about that." And he talks about he thinks about the flashbacks of him to talk about everything is great when Sierra's here, because wow. And he says to Julie, he's like, yeah, well, if she gives back her memories, not all of them are going to be good. Alright, bro, we both know that's a damn lie. That's not why you have that look on your face with discontent of you not wanting her to get her memories back. Okay? Because all your memories, throughout life, you're going to have good and bad parts of it. You don't get to sit there and selectively choose. You don't get to sit there and just forget because it's just a lot easier. So, that's BS. It has a lot to do with the fact that you still have feelings for Sierra. And, you want to shoot your shot. Even though that, she's married to someone else. Okay, so, on the other side of town, Marlena is trying to calm down Sierra, which is just, man, I hope that woman gets paid a lot of money for that. But, at this point, Sierra's like, oh, Claire tried to burn me down, she tried to kill me, she just starts going off on a tangent. And Marlene's sitting there trying to calm her down, and Sierra's like, no, you're just going to sit there and give her excuses. So she runs out the room, and she makes a beeline towards Claire and Ben, and she just goes off on Claire. Like, just completely goes off. You try to burn me, you try to kill me, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. At this point, I just checked out. Okay, at this point, I completely checked out. And the sad part of this whole thing is that I found the scenes with Xander and Chanel way more enjoyable than this. This was, for me personally, this was like the worst part of this whole episode. Okay? Listen, I am trying, and as I'm thinking of it now, I am trying to give this woman a bit of slack. Because, yes, she lost a memory. The only memories that she has is the bad ones. And even though it happened 3 or 4 years ago, it's like it just happened today. So I get it. From a character's standpoint, I get it. Her going off on an emotional tangent, and her yelling at, Ben, and, Ben was not helping the situation either by trying to get all close to her and trying to calm her down. I was like, bro, she is yelling and screaming and acting like a 12-year-old and making a scene in a hospital, in the middle of the damn hospital. And I'm sitting there thinking, so no one's going to sit there and try to do anything to stop this? We're just going to let this whole thing play out? Okay. Alright, that makes sense. But he wasn't helping. By grabbing onto her, trying to calm her down. She's all like, get away from me, stop. And he did it twice. I was like, bro, if she's yelling and having a bad reaction towards you grabbing her the first time, doing it this whole scene. And she goes off on both of them, and she's all like, I don't love you, and blah, blah, blah. She starts acting like a child, then she runs back in the room, and then she calls Theo, because why not? Why not at this point? Of course, she tells Marlena that, she doesn't want to sit there and remember anymore, and then Theo comes in, and Theo's like, yep, I'm so sorry that it didn't work out. Then he, walks in there, and I was like, yeah, bro, you really seem sorry. Listen, I'm pretty sure there's a part of him that actually does mean that. Okay? But let's not sit there and try to pretend like he's that broken up about the fact that this whole memory thing didn't work out in their favor. So he goes back, he goes in the room, And, you know, he's holding Sierra, and Sierra's all like, I don't want to sit there and remember them anymore, and blah, blah, blah. And she's just going all off, and Ben overhears them. So, moving forward, we're going to have a sad Claire, we're going to have a mopey Ben, and we're going to have a whiny Sierra. And we're going to have, you know what, I know I'm going to get flack for this. I don't care. I feel like we're going to have, in some ways, a snaky, you know, like, Theo acting like a bit of a snake. Okay? Let's just be honest. He's acting like a bit of a snake. I get that he's trying to be there for her as a friend, confidant, you know, you see a friend in pain, you want to sit there and do something to help them, protect them. I get that. But this dude does have an agenda. Okay? Let's not sit there and try to pretend that he doesn't. Okay, I get it. They were friends. They were growing up. And they were besties and everything like that. You know what? I know it sounds awful, but I don't care. How he's acting now is very snake-like, and I'm not gonna sit there and try to pretend that it's not. So yeah, that was all sorts of fun. You know, every scene in this episode was the best part. What was much better than the whole Ben, Sierra, Marlena stuff. Because that just... And at one point, Ben wanted to try to go back in there and talk to... well, Ben was like, no, you need to sit there and try again. You need to try again. I get it. He's frantic and everything like that. But it's just like, bro... I mean, we're almost getting into that other show that I don't talk about anymore as far as melodramatic. But, like... I don't know. Anyway, I think that's about it. It's amazing. I didn't actually have too many cuts in this review. Because, well, you know what? On the positive side, I actually enjoyed talking about that more than I did watching it. Jesus Christ, Sierra's annoying. I know she's supposed to be going through this whole memory thing, but it's just like... She's just whining and like, you know, I don't want to be this and I don't want to do that. It's like, okay. Like, can we just focus on like anything else other than this? Because this is literally the worst part of this show so far. And I know maybe down the line it's going to get better, but I don't know. Maybe if she wasn't acting so bratty and just whiny all the time, it would probably go a lot smoother, but... This is what we get, because apparently this somehow makes sense. And with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me rant more than I did actual review. But, you know, it was all in good fun. Thank you for watching again. Be safe. Catch you in the next video. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Yeah.